What's up, Gunpla fans? This is Joey Ganoda coming at you with another video. And it's been a while since I've done a talkie video. It's been a while since I've done anything of a lot of great content, but that's okay. You know why? Because I'm just doing me. And you're doing you, and that's what matters. So, what am I doing this Friday evening? Nothing of much importance. A hint of cinnamon in your coffee makes for a nice, spicy flavor. It's a good thing. Everyone loves the coughing on camera, so I don't really have anything to talk about. I just felt like talking because that's what I do, and I got a haircut recently. It's a little off in some places, and I definitely didn't do any styling with it today. So you'll have to forgive the mess, but it's better than the mop that it was before. So I have been working on Gunpla, throughout whatever. If you follow me on Twitter, which I have more followers on Twitter than I do subscribers on YouTube, and I think that needs to change. And the only way that's going to change is if I put more content on this channel. I have a new schedule for work. It started maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, something like that, where now instead of working Monday through Friday, I work Monday through Thursday, 10-hour shifts, so it's a longer day, but I've got a 3-day weekend, so that gives me time to do more stuff, which is great because those extra 2 hours that I'm working during the day on those first 4 days of the week, I was usually just wasting time watching TV, sleeping, or whatever. So, now I have a whole extra day free, and I'm a bit more productive and precious with my time during the weekdays when I'm working because it's a little bit more limited, so I kind of value it a little bit more. It's some sort of psychological trick that I'm playing with myself, but it's working. So let's just get started and talk about some Gundam stuff. I am currently working on the Master Grade Premium Bandai exclusive RX-78-1 prototype Gundam, and let me tell you what happened with that. I don't have it with me. It's in the other room. It's that, to me it's that direction, but according to the camera it'd be that direction. Am I mirrored? I'm mirrored. I think I'm mirrored. Let me try this. No, that still says Chicago. I don't know. I don't understand how cameras work, apparently. Anyway, the other room, which is where my home office is because I work from home, and it's got a big giant table in the living room. It's sort of like a dining area sectioned off from the living room portion of the living room, if that makes sense. That's where I also work on models most of the time because I'm already there working. It's also got my laptop. It also has my photo booth, which I could move into this room and utilize this room a bit more because I got to be honest, I haven't sat in this room in quite some time. I've been in here to grab kits and supplies and stuff, but I haven't spent a lot of good quality time with my Gunpla, and I got to tell you, they're getting restless. They're probably going to take over the world, and by world I mean my apartment, and kill me at some point. I'm serious. Anyway, so I'm working on that, and here's what happened. And if you saw on Twitter, I posted pictures of it and explained the story, but I'm going to go ahead and explain it here. The chest part, the top of the chest, not the belly, you can't see what I'm doing because the camera is zoomed in, but like the belly where the cockpit is, not that part, but the chest part up here, where it shows the booby vents. I put the chest piece over the vents in such a way that the vents could not open. So I immediately recognized the problem. I just needed to pop that chest piece off, flip the vents up, and then put it back on so that the vents were able to move. Well, in the process of pulling that front chest piece off, not only did it go flying somewhere, I did find it, but somewhere, it bent in half, like in the thin part, just underneath the collar. And it had a huge, ugly white stress mark, and it's a dark gray plastic. dark greenish gray, to be honest. So I freaked out because you can't, there's not much you can do physically to fix that. I bent it back into place. It didn't break completely. Froze. I don't know if it's still recording. It's back to working now. Cool. Anyway,
the part physically is in the correct shape, but it had a big ugly white stretch mark. I could have just painted the whole part, but I was far too lazy. So, after working for about half an hour or so to mix the perfect color match, and it was perfect. I had to first mix the paint and then let it dry because it dries a different shade than when it looks wet. And then once it dried, I had to compare the colors, make sure it matched, and then remember how I mixed that batch. And I went through about 8 different batches, 8 different color shades to figure out which one. And it worked. It's fine. It looks great. But I hand painted, and I was using a rather thin brush. I should have used a wider brush. I did thin it properly, but it was showing pretty bad brush strokes. Just because I was using the small brush, and you could just see the nice even lines of the paint. And I tried putting a little bit of thinner on there and letting that kind of level it out a little more. It was just drying too fast, which is weird because I was using enamels. They were flat enamels. Gloss usually tends to level out a little bit better, but they were enamels. They shouldn't have done that. They should have leveled out pretty nice. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so I did that, and the brush strokes were still there. So I had to do a bunch of research and figure out what I could do. And then I remembered I had a pack of sandpaper that started at like 600 grit and worked all the way up to 12,000 grit. So I just used 1,000, 2,000, and 4,000, and I smoothed it out pretty well. You can still kind of see some strange, they're not bumps because it's smooth, but like you can see textures or something. And I'm hoping that a top coat will settle that out and just be done with it. If not, it's not terrible. I don't hate it. I'm happy with it. Anyway, but I just painted across the shoulder, or across the chest, under the collar, down around the vents, basically just the part, the flat section where the bend was. And it matched perfectly. So it looks good. I'm pleased with it. Whatever. That's that. So far I just have the belly, the chest and the head done, and the core fighter. And I need to do some touch-up painting on the core fighter because I painted the canopy to have a white border and then a clear gray canopy. So it's kind of like sunglasses, sort of. And so yeah, that's looking pretty good. I got to touch up the white border around the canopy, and then I'm going to be pretty pleased with the core fighter. What else have I been working on? Well, let's talk about some contests that I placed in. I didn't win first prize in anything, but that's okay. I'm pretty happy with what happened. So, Shoki Reviews, if you're subscribed to me and you're not subscribed to him, go subscribe to him. He puts out a lot of content. He does a lot of live feeds. He has 2 channels, one for Gunpla, one for action figures and miscellaneous. He's a really great guy. He's funny. He does skits. And it's all, you know, geek related. It's wonderful. He sells t-shirts. He's got a Patreon. Go support him because he's awesome. He has done a few of what he calls the point videos, where it's like under 2 minutes, and he does like very, very simplified but funny reviews. He's done like 5, I think, Gunpla model kits, all high grades. And then he put out a contest to do a review in the style of the point.
and you may have seen it when I posted it. It was about the Master Grade Full Armor Unicorn Verka, and the nightmare of stickers it has. And I got second place. So he is sending me, and he just sent me the tracking number today. He is sending me the new Super Deformed Cross Silhouette RX-78-2 Gundam with the Cross Silhouette, the combo kit. So I got that, and that's awesome that he's giving away stuff and he's putting out content and he's holding contests. Very cool. The other one was I don't remember the full exact name of the Facebook group. I think it's Riley's Gundams and More for Less. Anyway, Riley put on a contest, and he had some judges for a straight build competition, straight out of the box, no panel lining, no gluing, no seam lines, no painting, just what's in the box, the kit and the stickers. And then you got to clean up the nubs as best you can with whatever tools, and you were allowed one stand and one add-on pack from Bandai. No third-party stuff, of course. And I chose to do, strategically, I chose to do the premium Bandai exclusive prototype Gundam in the test type colors, the yellow one that looks a lot like the 01 unit from Origin. It's got the cannon, and it's like yellow, and it's got the grid pattern stickers on like the legs and arms. And I chose that because that color, number one, it's all the same color, so it was easy to work with. And the nubs were very easy to remove and hide. So yeah, I chose that specifically. Plus, the stickers were dynamic, and there was a lot of them that added detail without me having to do any painting or having to do any line removal. I used a clear Action Base 6 with the intent of using the Ninpulse Gundam had the add-on pack with like the rocket blasts and laser blasts and like the electricity and like the weird flames, but there was all clear parts. So my idea was I was going to have the Action Base 6 with 3 stands set up in a line, so that the Gundam was back here and he was firing his machine gun, and it would have one effect part, one clear effect part showing the blast here, and then 2 more on the stands in sequence, so it looks like he was flying by and blasting. The problem with that is my camera setup is really, really good, and I used a clear Action Base on a black background with clear effect parts, so it didn't look nearly as dynamic as I wanted it to. If I had used a black stand, it would have looked so much better. But the clear stand stuck out like a sore thumb. It was so bad. So instead, I just used one section of the Action Base 6. I basically used it like an Action Base 5. And one clear effect part on the end of the gun. And it worked. I had a really good dynamic pose. I took really good pictures. There were still a few nub marks that the judges spotted, but they were cleaned up really, really well. It's just you could still see them. And I got third. Got third place. The prizes for that one, Riley had gotten a hold of 2 gold and 2 silver bear guys, petite guys. And the first place got 1 of each. Second place got to choose between the gold and the silver, and then third place got what was left. I got what was left, which was a gold one. Riley's holding that until because he sells things at a really good price for an American retailer. Really good prices. So he's holding that until maybe he has something that I want to buy, and then we can ship it together. So that's that. He's holding another competition. Riley is holding another competition. It's in support of one of his moderators named Scott, who was just recently diagnosed with cancer. Prognosis so far looks good, but cancer treatment is super, super expensive. So they have a GoFundMe, and for just $5, you can enter this competition. You can build any kit that has the name Zaku in it. Check out the link below if I get around to it, or just look for Riley's Gundams and More for Less. I believe that's the name of the group. I don't even have my phone with me. I'm filming on a computer. I could look it up. I'm so lazy. Anyway, so yeah, so there's two categories, basic and advanced. Basic would be minor painting, decals, panel lining, and whatnot. And then the advanced category is like all out, kit bash, diorama, full paint jobs, modifications, things like that. No resin though, if I remember right. I don't remember all the rules, and I think I have to ask clarification on some of the rules. So here's the thing: is before he announced this, I was actually already working on a Zaku, and it is snipped, trimmed, put together, and I've removed the seam lines. But I haven't done anything else to it yet. And since I've already removed the seam lines, that means I have to go into the advanced level if this is the kit that I want to use. If it's allowed, I don't know, because he wanted you to start with a fresh kit, as far as I could tell from the rules. So I'm going to ask for clarification and see if I can use this. I hope so, because I was gonna do this. I was gonna build this kit anyway, and this was gonna be the first kit that I fully airbrushed. So let's talk about that. So first off, I was going to try the Mr. Color, Mr. Hobby line of products. So I have Mr. Servicer, Mr. Primer Servicer 1000. I'm gonna see if I can fix the focus on my camera. Hey, there we go. So, yeah, Mr. Primer Servicer 1000. And I've never used any of this before. I've never used anything, so I don't know how to work with it just yet. I'm doing some research. I don't know if this needs to be thinned. It sounds pretty liquid, but thinning probably doesn't hurt. For that, I have Mr. Color Thinner 400. I believe 400 is just the milliliters. Yes, 400 milliliters. I would have preferred, when I bought this, to find the leveling thinner. And I know I'm out of focus right now, but just deal with it. But they didn't have it. They just had the normal thinner. It's relatively humid where I am, so it might not matter. I might not need that. The leveling thinner just slows the drying time. For the Heat Hawk, because that's important, I wanted to go really anime accurate with this. I have MS Purple. And then I'm going to use, I don't know what I'm going to do for the blade itself. I'm just going to leave it silver, paint it just purple, or paint it yellow. But for that I have fluorescent colors, but they're enamels, so that'll be fine. And then for the dark gray parts, I have Mr. Color Black Gray. And I'm hoping this is the right shade. It looks to be a little light, but that's okay because I also have black. So the black, I can darken up the gray if I need to, but I can also mix it with the two base colors for pre-shading, or post pre-shading, right, pre-shading. So I have Mr. Color Char's Pink. And it is very pink. It's almost like a flesh tone. On camera, it doesn't quite show up. But I've opened it up and looked at it, and it's a weird... it's almost like a flesh-toned resin color, I guess. Or like if you ever buy Sculpey clay in a flesh tone, that's a little bit on the pinker side. That's kind of what it looks like. Not your typical Char pink that you think of, but a more realistic, toned-down Char pink. And then I also have Char's red. Now, for the backpack itself, because the backpack, for whatever reason, is like true red. And I do have that somewhere here. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Here we go. MS Red. MS Red. So, with these colors, there are 6 of them, and the primer, I should be good to go for nearly everything on there. The joints, I want to go, like I said, anime accurate. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking that the joints, I'm actually going to paint in Char's pink, because in the anime, the joints were not mechanically colored. They were the same color as the armor. That being said, if I'm allowed to go into the advanced category with a pre-assembled kit, I think I'm going to do some modifications. If I get the approval and I do the modifications, I will probably stick with the joints being a mechanical color, like gunmetal or something along those lines. But I don't know yet. I have to check on that. If not, I'm just going to do straight anime colors, and it'll be my own personal project, and I'll be happy. It's the original high-grade Universal Century Char Zaku 2. I have one of those already assembled, back when I used to trim up nubs with just a knife, and I didn't do a lot of filing and whatever. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal the weapons from that, so I can have, and the hands, so I can have a trigger hand for the machine gun and the bazooka, plus have a free bazooka and a free machine gun to hang off the back when they're not in use. Then I can also have an activated and an unactivated Heat Hawk. Sound good? I think it sounds great. So that's my project there. If I'm not allowed to use that for the contest, and I really want to enter this, I have a plethora of Zakus to choose from. And, I mean, let's see, just off the top of my head, not off the top of my head, off of the pile in front of me, I have real grade Black TriStar Zaku 2s. I've got 3 of those I can do. 5 of those I can do, because I was going to paint. One is an Annabelle Gato, and one is a Shin Matsunaga. I'm getting in the mail eventually soon, because I did a trade with, I'm name dropping like crazy today. Joshua Gundamu, his channel has changed its name to Army of Toys. He does a stop-motion animation series called Gundam Father of Peace with mobile suit and action figures. He wanted the inner frame from a real grade Zaku 2, Char Zaku 2 specifically, and the inner frame from a real grade RX-78-2. I happen to have both of those already assembled. They were the first real grades that came out. They were the first ones that I got and the first ones I built. So I didn't mind trading them away and just buying new ones so I can build them properly, because I built them before my techniques have improved as much as they have. So in trade for that, he's sending me a Xeon flag, which is going to be awesome. I can hang that up probably right behind me. And he's also trading me a real grade Johnny Ridden Zaku 2, the high mobility type. So I'll have that to use. I have the 1.0 Johnny Ridden Zaku 2 Master Grade. I have I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe. Nope. Okay. I have the High Grade Universal Century Starter Pack Volume 1 that has the RX-78-2 Gundam, the first high grade version. Not the first high grade, the first high grade Universal Century version. And a Zaku 2, both in anime colors. I can use that. I have an 8th MS Team Zaku 2 high grade kit. And I think somewhere I have a Master Grade. No, I have a ton of Master Grades. I have the Dozel Zabi Zaku 2. I have 2 Garma Zabi Zaku 2s. I have Shin Matsunaga's P Bandai version of the Zaku 2 high mobility type, which instead of having a shield has two of the shoulder pauldrons. I have Gabby Hazard's Zaku 2. I have more than Ana Velgato's Zaku 2. I have Char's The Origin Zaku 2, the high grade. So I've got Zakus I can use. That's not a big deal. I have this master grade Psycho Zaku that I could do and just show up everybody. I have the high grade Psycho Zaku I can do. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the Zakus from Seed Destiny. I had the pink one, and I think I traded it or sold it to my friend Matt at one point, and I haven't repurchased it. And I'm sure somewhere I could find, I think I've got an SD Zaku 2 of some kind, but I think it's one of the Sengokuden kits, and that'd be kind of fun, actually. Yeah, so I got Zakus. I got Zakus. Got them Zakus, baby. Anyway, what else? What else? That's really it. I'm trying to put out more content. Now that I have Fridays off, I want to start filming some fun stuff. It's just a matter of time management during the week. So I have Fridays truly free. Because what's been happening on Fridays is because of the schedule switch and I wasn't used to it yet, the first couple Fridays I was so tired that I slept away most of the day. And then the next two Fridays, it's been I'm awake, but I have to like do all my chores from the week that I missed out on doing because I was still getting used to the schedule. So if I can keep up with things like dishes and cleaning and laundry and the mundane aspects of adulthood throughout the week, then Fridays will be truly, truly free to do as I please. And I would love to have one day a week where, like the first week I'm filming a bunch of stuff, the second week I'm editing a bunch of stuff, and I can get a backlog of videos going out. I don't know what format the videos are going to be in yet. I have a number of ideas. I could go with what I was doing a couple years ago with 5 short videos a week, which would be easy. I could do that because they're so short. But I have a few more creative ideas coming down the pipes. What I would like to do is do like a backlog killer series where I come busting through that door like an old Western, and you know, I got a really cheap, like clearly cheap, bought at a dollar store cap gun. You know, those little awfully painted with the orange cap on them, and they got the old caps where little ring of like 6 things, and you pull the trigger and it goes pops, and smoke comes out the barrel. That'd be so fun. I come in here and like, you know, try and swing it around on my finger, even though I would probably not be able to because I think it's made for children and my fingers are fat like the rest of me. And then like I'd point at the backlog and I'd fire, you know, and then like set up the camera behind the box I'm about to pull out, and like I'd pull out the box and I'd show it to the camera through the slit, and that'd be like the intro, and then like do an unboxing video of that real quick, and then do like a build montage, and then do a short review of the kit. And that would be kind of what I was thinking. It's an idea. I have other ideas, but again, time management and energy is really what it's going to come down to. So I got to make sure I'm taking care of myself and my adult responsibilities throughout the week, so I have energy and motivation to be creative and do things. Yeah. So, oh, one more thing I wanted to talk about. I'm going to turn this into a 45-minute video, maybe even an hour. I don't care. You're going to love it. You're going to love every minute of it. You know how I know? Because you're still watching at this point. Where'd you go? Come back. I miss you. Hi, again. Thank you. Okay, the Zaku that I'm going to paint. This guy's been in this condition for about a week. And I don't know what it is about airbrushing that to me feels so intimidating. I have 3 different airbrushes. I have a spray booth. I have a place to set it up at. You know, I mean, really, I have all the paint and supplies I need. Something about setting it up and getting prepared to do it just stresses me out. I don't know, it's some kind of weird anxiety thing. The fear of trying something new and being afraid of not being good at it, which is why, number one, I got that kit for free, which is why I'm using that one first. And you know what? If I screw up, it's just paint. I can repaint or whatever. And I don't know why it stresses me out so much, because there's a plethora of information on the internet on how to use this stuff. And I've studied it, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Some sort of mental block. So where I set up my spray booth is currently occupied by my current work in progress pile. And I keep telling myself I can't do the airbrush, I can't do any big projects until the work in progress pile is completed. So I've been working on that slowly but surely. I have about 5 or 6 more master grades that need water slide decals done. 2 of which, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to do because they are a special coating version, and I don't think they need them. Honestly, and I know this sounds crappy, but I would rather save those water slide decals for the normal version of those kits and then use the crappy stickers on the special finish version, because I don't want to top coat over a special coating of Bandai's, because I don't feel comfortable using gloss coats yet because of all the factors of orange peel and whatever else on a kit that is specially coated, that if it orange peels, I don't want to risk ruining the coating trying to take off the orange peel or trying to fix it or whatever. So use the crappy stickers from the normal versions if I ever get them. And then save the water slide decals for the normal kits that I feel comfortable giving a matte top coat to. That's my thinking process. I think I'm going to stick with that. I just thought of that. I like it. Okay, cool. That's 2 less kits that I have to do water slides on. So there's those. The other kits in this pile, we have a 1.0 Johnny Ridden Zaku 2 high mobility type that I won from HobbyLink TV, Gunpla TV, back when Sid was the host and he was giving away his built kits. So it's a kit built by Sid. Cool. I have a high-grade Universal Century Unicorn MSV Silver Bullet given to me by my friend Dave when he kind of quit the hobby. My camera froze again. I think I'm back. Hi. Cool. Okay. It's partially built.
I gotta do that. I gotta finish it up. I'm not even sure what state it's in. I have a Kotobukiya Move Louvre kit. I don't know what they're called. I have no idea. Tekemika Duchi type 00F. No,
Takemika Duchi. If you heard that, that's what it is. It's the yellow one. It has the two swords. It's got a stand. It comes with a little monster thing. I've never seen the anime. I have no idea. It just looks cool. And I want to build that. I have a... It's the designer color version of the 00 Riser high grade from Gundam 00. It's finished. The kit itself is finished, but it has an Exen Riser parts. They were a Hobby Japan or Dengeki. I don't remember which one it was. Add-in kit for the magazine, but it's the third-party version. So I got to paint that and get that detailed up and finish that, attach it to the high grade. Then that'll be done. Then comes the hard part. Okay, so years ago, I did a project called the Gundam Wing Revival Project, in which I took the original 5 Gundam Wing 1/144 scale kits. Wing, Death Scythe, Heavy Arms, Sandrock, Shenlong. And I built them up real nice and neat. Hand painting, but really nice and neat. Removed the seam lines, did all the details, and they look great. I still love those kits. I'm still very proud of those kits. I finished the Epion 3 or 4 years ago. I still have the Wing Gundam 0 that needs a top coat. I think he's finished otherwise. Then I have Death Scythe Hell and Ultron. Those kits are cemented together. I believe I need to finish sanding them. Then I can paint them and top coat them. I started that same process with the G Gundam kits. So I have Maxter, Shining, and Bolt Gundam that I am working on. I think I have them all glued together. I just need to sand them down, and then I can paint and top coat those. Those kits are taking a while because I'm just not motivated to do all the seam line removal and the sanding 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 and the sanding. But once those are done, then I can finally move on to doing bigger projects. I don't feel comfortable anymore having a lot of in-progress kits because my backlog is so bad. Let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't bother me. But if I want to be organized about pumping the kits out, I want to just have one project going at a time. And one or two. You know, I don't mind working on, snapping a kit together that I don't want to paint up while I'm working on a bigger project. I don't mind that. That's fine. But to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kits in varying stages of completion, plus the ones that need to be decaled, I don't feel comfortable with. The prototype Gundam Master Grade that I'm working on, the P Bandai, was part of this pile. I had pre-painted some parts, and I just never got around to doing anything with them. So that's why that guy is getting finished now. Other than that, I haven't started anything new, unless I just needed a break from decals, which admittedly I should have went to the other part of the pile. But I didn't. But when I took my break, what I did was the Schwartz Ritter, the high grade Schwartz Ritter, which I haven't taken pictures of yet, and the high grade Cathedral Gundam, which was a P Bandai exclusive, and I knocked those out like in a week each, less than, I think. And then I've taken pictures of the Schwartz Ritter. Those are up on my Instagram and my Facebook page. Yeah, and then the contest high grade, the prototype Gundam demonstration colors or whatever it was, the yellow one. So that's that. That's what I'm working on. That's where I'm at. That's what I've got going on. The only other kit that is a work in progress right now is the 3.0 Master Grade Gundam. It's partially assembled because I was using that for the Therapy Thursday videos back when I was putting out regular content, where I would just build on camera silently, and then I'd either put music over it or I'd put it up raw. And those actually did pretty well. I would like to continue doing that, and I'd like to continue using that kit until it's finished, because I liked the build of that kit as I was doing it. And then I built the Castle version, the P Bandai. I built that at work, actually, at my desk at work when I was working in the office, and I had time to do that. And having built the 3.0 Gundam in that version, I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed that kit. I think it looks good. I know it gets some hate, but I don't know. I like the look of it. I prefer the 2.0 with the more anime proportions, to be perfectly honest. But 3.0 looks good. What I don't like about the 3.0 and the real grade is that they look more advanced than subsequent Gundams. And for being the first Gundam, it looks too advanced for what comes after it, if that makes sense. So, I mean, if they're going to continue that motif and keep upgrading the granddaddy, they need to also upgrade subsequent Gundams. But that is a rant for another time, because I don't want to get into it about the Mark II, which is probably my favorite Gundam from the Universal Century series, because if they screw with that design too much, I'm going to get upset. I have built the real grade Titans version, and I love it, but they didn't really mess with the design too much, although I did build it as the prototype version. But then the high grade Revive version of the Mark II, ooh, and the Master Grade version 2.0 of the Mark II. Oh, I have the AUG version of that in my backlog, and then I have the HD version of the Titans one in my backlog. Oh, I can't wait to get to those. Oh, what else? What else? What else? I want to start doing unboxings, and I got to package videos and things like that as well. The problem is that I get a lot of packages. I mean, a lot of packages. I buy a lot of stuff, guys. My most recent purchase, I got the Perfect Grade Red Frame Astray Kai with the massive sword that I could use as a dagger because it's huge. I don't know when I'm going to get to a Perfect Grade. Matt and I were working on the Perfect Grade Unicorns, but Matt and I had a bit of a falling out. I'm not going to get into a lot of details. I'm going to fully admit right now that I can be a jerk sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and put most of the blame on my mouth and how it can be misunderstood at times. And that's that. But anyway, he and I are not talking right now. We're civil, you know. I don't hate him. I'm sure he doesn't hate me. We're just not talking. Anyway, he left his Perfect Grade Banshee here. And it's been a few months. I have offered to bring it to him when we stopped talking, but then he never replied to that. So, who knows? Honestly, if I don't hear from him soon, I'm going to call it a lost cause, and I'm just going to claim it for my own. And then probably never touch it because I'd feel bad, and then hope one day he starts talking to me again. Anyway, so that's there. And then I've got the Final Battle of the Unicorn version. I got the Final Battle Banshee version. So I do have my own Banshee. And then I got a perfect grade Trans Am 00 Riser. I have a bootleg Zero Custom, Wing Zero Custom, perfect grade. And I need to get them built. I need to get all those built. I think maybe that's what I'll do. I'm going to finish the whip pile, finish the Zaku, do the Zaku contest, and then I think I'm only going to work on perfect grades until all of them are done. I think that's an idea. I have reached the 45-minute mark, 45 seconds ago. And my coffee's gotten cold. So I'm going to go. Thank you for listening to my ramblings and rantings and ravings. And be good to each other. And happy building. Until next time, guys. Take care. Where's the button? There it is.